Hi guys, this is Mark from Singletrack magazine. You join me on a blustery Sunday, February morning. I'm here with this bike behind me. You can just about see it. This is the brand new Specialized Turbo Levo SL. I've never ridden this bike before. This is my very first ride, and I thought I'd bring you guys along too. Before I ride this thing is I'm going to let some air out of these tyres. It's typical of test bikes that get delivered to us, is they have all the air on the planet pumped into their tyres. This is going to be something around about, I reckon that's close to 40 psi. It's tubeless on this bike, so I can let it out. That's looking a little bit healthy, probably won't kill me. Bit damp today. So what have we got here? What is the Turbo Levo SL? Well, SL in this case stands for super light. What Special I've done is taken the Levo chassis and stuck a less powerful motor in there. Why would you want to do that? What you get from a big powerful motor like you have on the standard Levo is you get a huge amount of weight. What we've got here with the Turbo Levo SL, this particular model, which is the Comp Carbon, comes in at an absolutely staggering 39.5 pounds, which for all you acoustic bike riders out there still probably sounds ridiculously heavy, but in the world of e-bikes that's positively lighter than air. What's that for? Why have they made it so light? Well, clearly it's to try and have an e-bike that feels like an ordinary bike. So how have Specialized managed to perform this magic? There are no special ways other than making the battery smaller, making the motor smaller. And that's what we've got here. This model has a motor on it. It has the Turbo Levo SL 1.1 motor. What are the differences between this and the standard Turbo Levo motor system? Well, this battery is just 320 watt-hours of capacity, and the motor is a 240 watt motor that can deliver a peak output of 250 watts. Now you need to compare that with the standard Levo motor, which has a peak power output of over 500 watts. But of course, that does leave us with a bike that has less battery capacity and less power. What about the power? The standard Levo can provide 400% more power than the rider puts in turbo mode. So that's the maximum power output. That means if you put in 100 watts of energy through your legs, the motor's going to add another 400 watts of power to that in boost mode on the standard Turbo Levo. But on this SL version, that maximum power assist is half that, it's 200%. Another way they've saved weight is the motor on this is wrapped in a magnesium casing, which further trims down the weight. And of course this is the carbon version, so carbon obviously helps towards that. And there's lighter componentry on this bike than there is on the Levo. Specialized say that this bike is intended as a long, all-day trail bike. This bike isn't about uplift. This bike is about going further and going faster. And it's about the handling. I mean, it's not a cross-country bike. There's 150 millimeters of travel from the Fox 34 rhythm fork. Got a Fox RP2 shock at the back again, giving a total of 150 millimeters of travel. It's a 29er. This is the Comp Carbon. How much does this one cost? Right, well this Comp Carbon that I'm riding now is about midway in the range, and this costs £5,999. There is an aluminium version that probably adds on an extra maybe £0.50 or so, and then you go up to the S-Works version, and which understandably is going to be much more expensive, but that is not the top of the line version. The S-Works with Specialized, S-Works usually signifies the best that you can get, but in this bike Special have decided to go one further, and they have produced a limited edition Founders version. The Founders version is S-Works Plus. It's limited, there's only 250 of them being made, and get this for a price. I don't have the UK price, but I do have the US price. The Founders version is $16,500. Let me just run you through some other features of this bike, because the motor isn't everything. Well, this is the medium. This is a reach of 525 millimeters. There's a chainstay length down there at the back, which is 437, which is pretty short for a e-bike. Because you see, normally that motor down there, that's a sort of a limiting factor when it comes to chainstay length. Now they've managed to do that, obviously, because the motor down there is a lot smaller than the full fat Levo motor. What else have we got? Angles, yes, angles, right. We have 66 degrees at the head angle, and we have 75 in the seat tube. And I guess my first opinion so far, having done 3 laps, and I'll remind you again, this is the first time I've actually ridden this bike. It does feel very agile. That sluggishness that you get with a full fat e-bike is noticeably absent. Now, are Specialized being revolutionary here? Are they the first to do this? Not really, because e-bike fans out there will probably be drawing some parallels with a couple more bikes that are out there on the market at the moment. The concept of this does sound familiar to anybody who's ridden a Fazua system. The Fazua system is actually less powerful than this, and actually Specialized claim, oh, we've got a walker on this bike path, excuse me, thank you. This is a dedicated bike path, I'll just point that out. Yeah, the Fazua system, comparisons are obviously going to be made with the Fazua system. Fazua, 250 watt battery, 250 watt hour battery, let's get these things correct. Specialized claim their motor is actually lighter than the Fazua system, but let's not forget, with the Fazua system you can actually remove not just the battery, you can actually remove the motor from the bike. On this bike the battery is integrated into the down tube and you cannot take it out. Charging has to be done with the battery in situ, and the motor, similarly, like most e-bikes, you can't remove it. So I guess making comparisons with the Fazua system is a little unfair in that regard, because they are kind of suited for different purposes. Okay, we're moving away from my short test loop in the forest there. We're going to go out a bit further and explore. This is a much more technical bit of trail. Rocky, few jumps, steep shoots and drops, and we'll see how well this bike performs. I've got everything open. Let's give it a go. What you might be able to pick up from this audio is the fact that I'm kind of out of breath. Now, there's two possibilities here. One could be my fitness. The other could be that the e-bike is not the only power source here, that I am actually putting some effort in. And I am, of course, going to go with the latter excuse. This bike is noticeably in need of your input. That motor is very much an assist rather than a cheat. Ooh, a little bit of off piece there. Bad handling. I think I've still got a little bit too much pressure in these tyres. Oh, it's so muddy. Oh, when you put this thing in the air, big shoot, it really does have that feeling of a much lighter bike. You totally forgot that this was an e-bike coming down there. Sorry for the mud splatters. It's a very muddy day. Oh, the weather's closing in on me now. But I've done, don't know, 4 laps of this trail. Been out across the technical trail at the top. How much power have we got in this thing? It's barely made a dent. I don't know if you can see, if I lean forward you can see the power dial there. Now, the one thing I haven't told you about is the fact that there is an accessory option with this bike. You can actually get an add-on battery pack in a similar way that you can with the Focus system. That battery pack just sits in the bottle case that you can see down there, and it adds another 160 watt hours of battery capacity to the system, giving you a potential total of 480 watt hours, which is very close to the standard battery capacity of 525 watts that you can get in the full fat Levo. How much does this accessory cost? It costs £300, and I would say that's an absolute bargain. And if you're going to buy one of these, you should definitely opt for that extra capacity battery. And it weighs pretty much not much more than what a full water bottle weighs. And of course, with a high-tech bike like this, you do have an app to fine-tune it. I'm actually running this bike. It's got 3 modes. You've got Eco, Trail and Boost. Pretty standard. And the Specialized Mission Control app allows you to tinker with the amount of power, maximum power and capacity that the system puts into each of those modes. So do I have any early opinions after this first ride? Well, I was a big fan of the Focus Jam2 system that decided to use a smaller battery to try and maintain better handling. So this bike is very exciting for me. See, my experience of full fat e-bikes is that it's so tempting to knock it into boost, but the trouble with a 400% boost of power is that becomes difficult to control. And just simply taking that power down actually increases your control. And if that's in a lighter chassis and a bike that feels like an ordinary bike, then surely that's better. This isn't a bike designed for people who are old or infirm or who are lazy or unfit. This is a bike for ordinary mountain bikers who just want to do more. And it feels so normal. So, I'll wrap this up now. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the brand new Specialized Turbo Levo SL carbon comp. More details as ever on our website. All the weights, all the prices, all the angles. We're going to keep hold of this bike for a lot, well, hopefully a lot longer. And just see how it performs once I've got everything tuned and adjusted. So that's all from me, guys. If you've got any comments, any questions, stick them down below and I will be around to answer them for you as best as I can. Thanks, guys.